Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. Today we are talking about malefic houses. If you are new to astrology, you're probably like, what is a malefic house? Well, first of all, if you look at your natal chart, there are 12 houses, or if you look in the astrological chart, there are 12 houses. Malefic, actually, let me get into the definition of that before we even get started. In astrology, not all houses operate the same way. Some houses, they bring ease, they bring flow, and even visibility. We'll get into that a little bit later. And other houses can bring some pressure, responsibility, transformation, and things are not as visible as it seems. So today I am going to talk about these houses, and they're going to be the malefic houses, or the 6th house, the 8th house, the 12th house, and even another house that may be surprising to you. And I want you to understand that doesn't mean that all these houses are bad. It just means that it takes harder work and there's some growth that you have to earn. Well, you have to earn the positive parts of these houses. It's not just given to you. Now also too, if you know anything about malefic, then you know that there are also malefic planets, which is Saturn is the biggest malefic planet, and Mars is the second smaller malefic planet. That's another video. We are talking about the houses. So malefic, it's not evil, it's not curse, it's not negative. It just represents effort. It could also represent survival, loss, again, transformation. Often it's tied to a depletion before renewal, hence that transformation, rebirth energy. There is a heavy burden, like that Saturn energy, responsibilities, lessons, all these things are involved with that, and a lot of inner work with these houses. They build mastery, and it's not that comfortable. I just want to talk about the houses. If you have placements in these houses, you probably feel this more than others. So let's talk about the first house, which is the 6th house. And the 6th house you can think of is, it resonates with the Virgo energy, and it also is about labor, health, and obligation. It is your daily work. It's your service to others. There's health routines involved. There's conflict and stress because you are talking about your daily work. A lot of co-workers, somewhat of the work environment. What's challenging in this house is that you have to put in effort. You're not going to just be recognized. You're not going to walk in a room and ta-da. No, you have to put a lot of effort. There's a lot of organization with this house too, the way your mental organizes things. Now, because we are talking about health, and that's the part where it gets a little doomsday, this house is associated with illness, burnout, and imbalance. And currently, as I am filming this, I have Uranus in this house. And the testimonies I have currently while Uranus is transiting in this house is insane when it comes to health. But work also is in this house, and you're talking about co-workers and the way they respond to you in the work environment. Now, the lesson in here when you're dealing with this house is there's a lot of discipline. There's healing when there's structure and things are organized, and you start to master your daily habits, and your daily habits also affects your health and your routine of health. Now, let's throw a planet on here. So let's say you have Mars in the 6th house, and Mars is a malefic planet, but we're going to throw Mars in here. And Mars can cause a lot of high stress in the work environment, or even in your day-to-day environment. You could be overworked. You could feel like you're physically pushing yourself too hard. A lot of irritations, a lot of impulsivities instead of slowing down and taking care of your health. You could be irritated from day-to-day responsibilities. Inflammation, you got that fire kind of energy involved with this. Now, if you have Mars in this house, this is a time to take things slow and have a strong work ethic. Put your passions into your work environment. Put your passions into your daily routines. Put your passions even into small pets. This is also the house of healing. And so you want to put more effort into healing yourself, inward and outwardly, and healing your environment. Now, so let's talk about celebrity that has this placement. Ariana Grande has the sun in the 6th house, and you're talking about illness, injury, being exhausted. Maybe there's labor, a lot of being overworked, a lot of being service to others. This makes me think of especially her work environment as a child and how she used to work for Nickelodeon. We'll just keep it at that. That could have been a situation. I don't know how her coworkers are, but there could be some challenging aspects with her coworkers. Also too, there are a lot of love interest involved when she's working. I know she just did a movie and fell in love with the coworker, and the coworker was married. So you have that. Now, the sun represents vitality. It represents your ego. It represents your life force, your identity. And you see a lot of energy. She might be serious about her work and how her work ethic is. She might be a hard worker. It's also in the sign Cancer too. There's emotional energy, always looking in the past, sensitive energy. I wonder if she ever suffered from anxiety at work, or being overworking and being exhausted at work, or feeling on duty emotionally. And a lot of past always haunting her in regards to work. Not her reputation, but the day-to-day work that she does too. This is someone who will have an intense work schedule. I don't know much about Ariana Grande. I'm putting this out there. Let me know what you think and how this resonates with her. For as not the positive, because there could be positive things, but her being overworked or exhaustion from work, even her health. You see that people would say that she's on Ozempic, and it's dealing also tied to work. It's dealing with the movie she came out with, and a lot of the co-workers are also very underweight too. But that's that sun in that 6th house. So let's talk about another malefic house, and that is the 8th house. And this is the house of loss. This is a house of rebirth. This is a house of transformation and power. The key themes in this house is death, shared finances, trauma, intimacy, a lot of psychology, therapy in here. This is challenging because it requires you to surrender. It involves endings, and who wants endings? And confronting your fears. A lot of people taking control or being obsessed, or maybe you're obsessed with someone, and also dependency on others, because a lot of shared resources. This is also the house of the taxes and the loans. So a lot of people with these placements had to have a tax audit, or maybe there's bankruptcy involved here. Finances for sure with the 8th house placements. But the lesson here you can grow from is having emotional resilience, empowerment through transformation, learning to trust after a loss. Also too, psychology and healing always works with this 8th house placements. Mystery and detective work also is involved with this 8th house energy. So a lot of things are kept in a secret here. So let's say you have the moon in the 8th house, right? We'll use the moon as the example. The moon is the energy of your emotions. You can have very intense emotions. You can have strong reactions to a loss or a change, because now the moon's there and it's so sensitive. The moon also, wherever it's placed, is really dealing with a lack energy. So a lot of lack and feeling like your emotional side is not enough, or the things that are taboo seems very negative for you. Emotional entanglement with relationships. Maybe your intuitive energy, you could feel like it's really deep or not deep enough. But there's emotional depth here, a lot of empathy. You can be very powerful with a lot of healing abilities. I find that the intuitive energy here is very positive and very strong. A lot of transformation. This is the house of surgeries, of even a house of transgenders. A celebrity that we have that is perfect for this placement, right? And understanding this and how it's malefic is Joe Biden. Again, a lot of loss, a lot of endings, a lot of transformations, a lot of crisis energy. I don't know anything about him owning any money or taxes or inheritance, but power dynamics and control, even when his health was diminishing. And even see that even goes back to the 1st house that I was talking about, the 6th house, because he had planets transiting in the 6th house when it came to health. But 8th house placements on his birth chart, a lot of power dynamics, and he didn't even want to release that, even though he had a health issue, which I'm pretty sure he knew before. Psychological trauma, a lot with this too. Jupiter expands everything it touches in that 8th house. So a huge transformation energy and a huge loss. I think he lost his child, right? And he has Pluto in that 8th house, and Pluto is going to intensify that 8th house energy. So I'm pretty sure that he experienced loss in his life. And I think having lose a child is hard for anyone. But that is why that 8th house is a malefic house. But the positive side for that is that when you come from that dark tunnel and you come to the light, you become more powerful than ever. So I don't want you to think, because I have 8th house placements, and I don't want you to think it's bad. And like I told you, currently I have a 6th house placement, and the transit is leaving, but experiencing that, sure, life is tough and life happens, but you learn the lesson. And that's the most important part of all this. Now let's talk about the 12th house. 12th house is, the key themes for the 12th house is the subconscious. It represents endings, hidden enemies, spirituality, solitude, mental health, and addiction. There's a lot more, like UFOs in space and the unknown, but we'll just say those things, right? Now, it's challenging because you're not able to visibly see what's going on. There's a lot of self-undoing patterns with this. You could be withdrawal. You could be feeling like you're sacrificing yourself. There's a lot of loneliness and depression with this placement, right? Now, the lesson here is to have spiritual awareness, to use your intuition more than ever, to have compassion, to heal others, to have inner healing, and releasing healing, the ego, and the attachment. A lot of forgiveness with this placement, which is great and powerful. Now, let's say you have Neptune in this house. Neptune is somewhat resonating at the same time with this placement, but Neptune brings the sensitivity to it. And there could be some strong sensitive environments around you. Maybe you're having blurred situations, a lot of escapism, a lot of drugs, a lot of addictions. And addiction is not just drugs. It could be addiction to porn, addiction to other things. A lot of sensitivity across the board, feeling sensitive to the environment around you. That 12th house placement with Neptune, I would think that when you are around people, you take in their emotions. So that could be an awareness. But the positive side with this is that there's a lot of spirituality, there's a lot of intuitive energy, there's compassion. You could be really creative with this placement because the emotions and the sensitivity of things are very strong, and a lot of healing. A lot of people too with this placement could probably be healers. They could be survivors or something, teaching something. So that's what we have. Now, Kim Kardashian has Uranus. We'll use her as a celebrity, right? Kim Kardashian has Uranus in Scorpio in the 12th house. And the reason why I thought of Kim Kardashian, and I just randomly picked people, and I was like, let's see how the malefic part goes with her. Not her, but just anybody that I randomly picked. I thought of Kanye West because the 12th house also represents crazy people. And I'm not saying that Kanye West is crazy. I want you to understand that it represents where people don't make sense. Remember, it's a fog, it's an illusion, there's fantasy. Also could represent people who are addicted to drugs or medication at the same time, but people who are not making a lot of sense. Confinement, death at the same time, and she did lose her father at a young age. A lot of hidden enemies too, and it made me think of her being robbed. That Uranus represents surprise, shocking event, sudden shock, disruption, something that's very unexpected. Uranus also represents geniusness too, and now you have the geniusness with some medication. And I do know like Kanye West addicted to like laughing gas, something that was even being said. Not saying she has an addiction. Definitely thought her getting robbed. And that is that Uranus in that 12th house, a hidden enemy that you cannot see. And there's shocking energy with that. And I thought her ex-husband, because there's confusion within a relationship, or maybe she idolized Kanye West at the beginning. Even like when I saw a documentary and her taking care of, like when he was in Africa, that could be that Uranus, the genius, and helping someone who is quite mentally not there, okay? Yeah, like a chaotic situation. And things are kind of like confusing. I hope those examples make sense. Now, here's a house that people don't really talk about, but when I learned astrology, I was told that this was a malefic house, and it is the second house. And the second house is about your self-worth. It's about your finances. It's about money, resources, food, your voice, your mouth, even like your takes in nourishment, not health-wise, but the nourishment. And now the challenging aspect with this is like not having abundance, thinking in lack, thinking about what you need to do to survive because you have that nourishment in there, or the fear of scarcity, having instability at the same time, even though that becomes more the 4th house. But it's all about learning about what you truly value. You know, like, do you value finances? Which makes me think of Kim Kardashian, right? When she got robbed, then she stopped valuing materialism. And this is that 12th house energy, learning to value things beyond your physical possessions and building security through your skill and consistency. Saturn is another planet. And I wanted to use a malefic planet, even though I use Jupiter, that's a benefic planet, but I wanted to use Saturn and Mars in an example so guys can really, it could be hardcore. Now, Saturn is a planet of lessons, challenging energy, very serious, very grounded energy. But there is a fear, there is a lack, there's challenges when it comes to your resources or finances. Anyone who has this placement, fear around money or survival early in life, feeling like security may not be earned, or it takes a long time to earn it. It's being very cheap. Also too, serious tone when it comes to your self-expression and your voice. Now, this is very interesting. If you have this placement, it's really good that you have strong financial discipline, long-term stability, consistency works in this placement too, and having the self-worth. And that strengthens through your age because Saturn is more the father of time. Now, a person that we can use for this example is Donald Trump. he actually has Jupiter in his second house, and Jupiter is a positive planet, right? So in the second house, you're like, oh, this is great. This is expanding the wealth, expanding your self-worth, having confidence and opportunity. We do know that there's a lot of issues with Trump with finances, a lot of risk taking. He could be feeling overconfident, excessive, like of gold is also, that was more of the Leo energy, but he could be overestimating his resources. Maybe he's exaggerating wealth or his value as well. It makes me think of bankruptcies and all that stuff, even though that's opposing energy. But the finances and overdoing and overspending the finances, overdoing the wedding, because he probably thought that was valuable. But I just wanted to show how, like, even a positive in that financial and yourself could be overdoing and overspending, and a lot of big issues when it comes to finances. Jupiter also represents courts and a lot of court things dealing with finances as well. Okay, so that is what we have for the malefic planets. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys enjoy this and you're really into astrology, you want more, you want to click the link in the bio and join my community, because I have amazing things that are very affordable. It's $4.99 a month. Right, you can learn even more with astrology behind the scenes. I can get deeper because you can't say that, you can't teach them that. So I just want you to know that I have that. If you guys want more, if you're like, no, I just want more of the free stuff, please don't forget to subscribe. Thumbs up, because when you thumbs up, it shows me that you really like this kind of content. You love learning about astrology, love evolving in astrology. The most challenging houses are often the ones that shape you the most. They don't promise ease. We do know, and I want you to understand that, but they do promise some deepness and wisdom and strength. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye bye.